I keep wearing the wrong t-shirts to these things. Earlier in the Last of Us Part 2 review, I wore a Star Wars t-shirt, and now for Ghost of Tsushima, I'm wearing a Last of Us t-shirt. I need to coordinate this a lot better. What's gonna happen in the next review? Am I gonna wear a Ghost of Tsushima t-shirt? Probably at this rate. Ghost of Tsushima is now available on the PlayStation 4, and for all intents and purposes, this is the final PlayStation exclusive game for this console. There are going to be other games, of course, for it, but as far as just exclusives go, this is it. It's kind of an end of an era we're really looking at over here, aren't we? This game has been out for 10-12 days now, so there are going to be some spoilers in this review. You have been warned. I just finished playing it. Although, it's an open world game, so are you really done with it? Or have you just hit pause on it and then you can just go back to it whenever you want to, because open world doesn't really end. This game follows the story of Jin Sakai, a lord on Tsushima Island, who is trying to defend its people after the Mongols have invaded it and hopefully kill Khotun Khan in the process, and also save his uncle, Lord Shimura, and try and gain his army again so that they can take over and they can defeat the Khan and he can take his army and go away. Along the way, he meets a lot of interesting new characters and he develops a bit of a legend for himself to the point that people in the island start calling him the Ghost because of his almost crazy supernatural like speed abilities and fighting. This review would have actually been out 2 days earlier had it not been for a cold I had, because it sort of took me off of playing. You can't really focus on playing when you're like sneezing every 5 seconds. It's like, achoo, and you're dead. Achoo, and you're dead. You don't want to keep doing that for like hours on end. So I had to take a break for a while, and then I got back to it, and I just finished the game right now. I just sort of went into intense gamer mode in the last day and a half. What did I think of this game? I absolutely loved it. This is a powerful, visceral, beautiful game that I cannot get enough of. Seriously, this is one of the most gorgeous games I have ever played in my life. It looks absolutely stunning. The attention to detail and the way Japan in this period of time has been captured is exquisite. Everybody involved at Sucker Punch and in the visual designs of this game, as well as the combat and gameplay itself, have to be given a big round of applause. They have done something absolutely beautiful here. Speaking of that gameplay, it is absolutely remarkable. The combat mode is absolutely amazing. As you're going along on this journey, you learn a lot more about Jin's abilities, you pick up on a few new things, and the stuff that you eventually start to do and the way it's used in combat, the different stances, the different slashes, everything. It's all really remarkable. The quick range fires, the kunais, the poison darts. This game has some wonderful cutscenes as well, and the attention to lore and detail is another thing I really appreciated. Just throughout the game, sometimes you'll just stop and you'll meet some peasant or you'll meet someone else, and they'll tell you a little story and they'll tell you about their life and they'll tell you about what they do to feel calm. And Jin will respond back. He'll have his own anecdotes on things and he will have his own thoughts on it. I just thought it was absolutely beautiful the way that they conveyed these things. I played this game in Kurosawa mode. And this is where I have to talk about this because, wow. As a huge film fan, Akira Kurosawa is one of the greatest of all time. And Seven Samurai is just a masterpiece. When you have a game here that essentially emulates that exact feeling, not just via a Kurosawa filter, but actually making it feel like you're in that movie at times, I found it to be astounding. They worked very closely with the Kurosawa family estate apparently while making this game, and you can tell the attention to detail and just the way it's honoring this man's amazing film legacy is just commendable to me. It's one of the most unique experiences I've had in any game because of that. And I started playing in this mode pretty much at the very beginning of the game. I changed over to color a few times, obviously. I wanted to get a look of what I'm looking at, and I wanted to get some really great shots with the photo mode, which has been talked about to death. And let no one tell you any different, the photo mode is absolutely spectacular. It is so well done. Some of the ways you can manipulate the environment around you to create some gorgeous shots, absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to play in Kurosawa mode for the longest time because this game has a grim, serious tone and a grim, serious story going with it. Because Jin is asking himself these questions about what it means to be a samurai, and because of his honor code, he is now doing things in this war which he wouldn't have actually done before because it goes against what a samurai should and can do. And so he finds himself doubting what kind of a warrior he really is, if he's one with honor or one without it. And at the same time, he doesn't want to disappoint his uncle because his uncle has trained him his entire life to be an honorable samurai. And now he's doing things that go against that. He knows it's going to be frowned upon. When you have that sort of theme constantly in the balance and you're mixing it up with the fact that he's seeing these horrific things and other characters like Yuna, Masako, Ishikawa, and all of them you're meeting, they're also having horrible, tragic stories to go with it and really dark stuff. The Kurosawa mode really accentuates that perfectly, and it makes for a very amazing gaming experience, and I think it fits these stories perfectly. That is not to say the color mode is anything bad. If you're playing this game in color, perfect. I mean, all games are in color, pretty much all of them are, so you're not exactly committing a crime by playing this one also in color. It's just if you're looking for something that's very unique in tone, I highly recommend the Kurosawa mode. But that could just be my own personal bias because I played it like 98% of the game in that. And I know that kind of takes me away from, like, I guess colors or whatever, but I found it to be still so vivid and so gorgeous in just that approach. And that's my rant on the ravings of the Kurosawa mode. I'm gonna talk about the rest of the game now. Let's talk about the side quests in this because, like I said, open world, you can keep going on and on. They are also really wonderfully handled. The stories that you eventually go down the road of and you figure out different things about these characters and the different worlds that each one of them come from. When you start to really explore more areas and you get into more fights, more skirmishes with either Mongols or with Straw Hats, Ronin, whenever that happens, it's really interesting. And every time the dynamic changes, something's different. Something isn't quite the same as the last time. And at one point in time, I think there was one moment where I was like, oh, the combat's getting a little similar. Like, all right, you know what to expect here. You're going to go here. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But then that happens in a lot of games, like even perfect games that I consider like Spider-Man. I love the Spider-Man PS4 game. But when you're taking out those Fisk warehouses, they're kind of labeled the same, aren't they? It's like, all right, I know the system. I'll do this. This guy's going to be here. This guy's going to be here. I will do this maneuver, and that's it. That's not necessarily a problem, because if that was the case, I would have to criticize every game ever made. Arkham City is one of my favorite games of all time, and it has that too. And it's pretty open, except that you're stuck in Arkham City. You can go into Gotham. It's not that open. It's open enough, though. That's Arkham Knight is for your real openness, if you really want that. The game essentially progresses in 3 acts. As you start off the game, you are already under siege by the Mongols and you're trying to free your uncle. As soon as you do that, you're trying to formulate a plan to take back Haso Shimura, which is essentially the stronghold of Tsushima Island. And in the 3rd act, you're essentially trying to take down Khan because he's still alive out there. In the process, there's a lot of devastating stuff that happens. You meet a side character named Yuna who saves you very early on in the game, and she becomes your best and trusted friend. And she has a brother named Taka. And as you're playing the game, Taka goes through something horrible. He basically gets murdered by the Khan. And when that happens, it was definitely heartbreaking. And it just sort of made you realize the stakes of the game. And he's no side character, mind you. I mean, he is, but he's not like just some guy who's there in the corner. You're like, oh, he died, I guess. They make you care about him. They make you feel for him. And you understand how he really wants to do something amazing and as important as his sister's being able to do. His sister is this fearless warrior. He's like, I want to be like her, and she keeps trying to protect me. And even till the last moment, he has that spirit within him. It actually makes for his death, to be a very heartbreaking thing. And it becomes a major factor in Jin wanting to defeat the Khan once and for all. You invest yourself into these characters, each and every single one of them, in very compelling ways. You care about Masako, you care about her struggle, you care about what she's trying to do, and you want to help her. You care about Sensei Ishikawa, you want to help him, you want to be in those missions. And as you're trying to figure him out and he's trying to take you in as a student, that dynamic that constantly is between you two, where you're questioning him, but he's also questioning you. He's like, where are your loyalties in this? And you're like, no, where are your loyalties in this? I mean, we're both a little messed up here. when you're going through all of that, when you're exploring these different things with these characters, with Norio and as well as Kenji, I think what they've accomplished is that it's not only, it's not just, it's just not just side quests for the sake of side quests. They all add to the story and to Jin's character himself. I mean, he's learning a lot about himself along the way. He's learning about who he is and what his place is in this entire story. And once you're approaching the ending, because eventually, of course, his uncle does, find out that he's not as honorable as he used to be, and there is that rift between them as it leads towards more devastating moments, like his uncle is saying, like, I might have to kill you now because the shogun will not approve of who you are. When you have those moments like that, it is extremely visceral and extremely heartbreaking to play. And I like the fact that the game doesn't shy away from those things. One thing I do also want to talk about, though, which I really loved, is the haikus. You can actually sit down, and the way those moments are handled were absolutely beautiful. And you could, just take in for a while. It composed something wonderful. My first haiku was really bad. I'm not even going to tell you, but I got better with it as the game progressed. I think someone said not bad at one point, one character. So I'm just going to say, okay, I guess not bad is that is the baseline that we're going ahead with. I only have one minor issue with the game, but it's the kind of issue that is so small that I'm gonna overlook it. It's easy to overlook, but since I brought it up, I may as well tell you. A couple of times the frame rate dropped. It was a little strange. It got a little shaky and it got a little jittery. I thought aside from that, the rest of the gameplay was fine. There were no other major rendering issues of any kind. It was just in this one conversation between Yuna and Jin that it seemed to fall for a second. Aside from that, I had absolutely zero problems in terms of quality for this game. There was absolutely no other issues, no other hang-ups, nothing. So that's it. Aside from that, Ghost of Tsushima is a wonderful game. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. It is viscerally told, beautiful to look at, gorgeous use of the Kurosawa mode. The action, wonderful. The combat is amazing. I mean, really, it's just absolutely remarkable. The different techniques you learn, especially when you get to the special abilities, all fantastic. And with The Last of Us Part 2 continues giving this console one of the best swan songs that could ever be given to it. Bring forth Cyberpunk 2077 next. So without further ado, I'm gonna give Ghost of Tsushima a 10 out of 10. I feel like a lot of people are going to start comparing this game immediately to other open world games or to The Last of Us Part 2, which also got rave reviews last month. I would say don't do that because they're so vastly different in their approach and they're such different games overall that you really can't compare. So don't compare. That's just kind of a dick thing to do. Play the games on their own accord. They're both phenomenal games in their own respects and they both should be played that way. Comparisons don't lead anywhere, especially not here. They're so different. There's really nothing to compare. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm sorry there haven't been a lot of videos over the last couple of weeks, but that's because game. That's where my mind has been. I haven't even really watched anything in the last couple of weeks, so there's nothing to review, really. There's going to be a lot more retrospectives very soon, lots of old reviews. There's going to be some TV stuff coming up. I did watch Cursed. I might review that. Umbrella Academy Season 2. Can't wait to talk about that too. As always, guys, you are the best. Thank you very much as always. And if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the movies.